Yo, what's up guys, it's Alex Fury here, back with another Outriders video. Today I'm just going to go over the patch notes with everybody and see what they've changed on the 30th of April, and there's a lot here. There was a big update, it was like 3 gigs, and they really seem to change a lot of things that have already been quite noticeable in the little bit of time I've played since the patch. But let's get straight into this. So, hello Outriders, we've just released a significant patch for Outriders. More on that further below. As you will know, we've been spending a lot of time on our character inventory restoration progress. It has been hard to provide an exact date on its go live date so far, mainly because it has hovered on the very threshold of releasing for some time, but a small number of edge cases have forced us to reiterate and retest the process several times over. The greatest difficulty we're facing in particular relates to giving characters the correct item levels, as item levels are calculated using 3 different variables: character level, highest level, highest unlocked world tier, and highest completed challenge tier. The complexity of these 3 variables together on individual affected characters is taking some time for us to get right. Our test indicates that restoring higher level gear than they should have leads to character problems, so we are not able to issue a blanket one-size-fits-all solution here. As our restoration tests have progressed, our latest patch was cleared for release. So basically looks like they're struggling to kind of associate each person's gear that needs to be restored to the correct level. So if you're level 35, they don't want to give you gear that's level 38 because you wouldn't be able to use it, so your character would still be unplayable, and then they don't want to give you underpowered gear. So it's trying to work out where your character kind of is actually at and what gear level you need to be given, is what I'm understanding there. While we had hoped to run the restoration process before releasing the patch, this unfortunately is not possible, so we have made the decision to release the patch today so that players can benefit from its fixes while we continue to iterate on the work in the restoration process. We'll update you as soon as we have more news on the progress of restoration and the community appreciation package that will follow. Okay, so they still don't have a release date. I'm assuming it's a lot of moving parts there to try and get everybody the correct leveled gear, but they can't just like blanket issue everybody level 50 gear that can't wear level 50 gear and whatnot, so that makes sense there. Patch notes. While there will be some major fixes that we're sure will be appreciated by players, this patch includes fixes and resolutions for many smaller and minor bugs that were reported or discovered during the demo and launch period of Outriders, but were unable to be amalgamated into the hotfixes we worked on during the same period. Note, this patch does not restore inventories or fix characters encountering the can't connect to server issue. These restoration fixes are currently being worked upon. So if you're still waiting for your character to be restored, unlucky, that's still going to take some more time from the looks of it. Highlights TLDR. Only the bundled patch highlights are listed here at the top of this thread. There are many more specific and detailed patch notes and fixes listed further below. Fix the number of crashes throughout the game. Fix the number of issues, bugs, crashes associated with multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayer still crashes occasionally, but it's mainly for the person that's not the host, at least. Lots of resolutions for gear, mods, skills, quests, leveling, and lighting bugs. Rebalance. Ar Snipers now give players more time to dodge their shots. I've actually noticed this as quite helpful too. I don't know how many of you guys run Chem Plant, but I'm assuming most of you do, and that the second that door opens and that first sniper always just instantly hits you and puts you to one shot, it now takes longer to actually acquire you as a target. And then if you're just moving, if you just run sideways, he just misses now, which is so nice. Rebalance the amount of knockback from creatures in Stargrave Expedition. This is now also a greater delay between spawns and a reduced number of offending creatures. This is meh. This needed to be a blanket change to the knockback on all maps containing these enemies, not just Stargrave. I understand Stargrave. That first encounter against the creatures where there's the birds and the crawlers and the behemoths, and it's just an absolute shit fight. That's a horrific experience, and probably one of the more painful encounters in the expeditions, but there's still other areas that are as bad, like Marshland's Caverns got some terrible ones. So this needed to be a blanket change in general to just the aliens, not just for a specific map. Fixed a bug where a skill damage improvement mod on gear with a higher level than the player would actually reduce damage when used at lower world tiers. This is huge. This is enormously handy of a change. So now what this means is if you're wearing a level 50 weapon that has Shadow Comet, and Shadow Comet's supposed to do like 390,000 damage, if you were to go into a World Tier 10 and the enemies are like, what would that make them, like 37? Your Shadow Comet would have been scaled down to do level 37 damage. It would have been doing like 20, 30k, whereas what this means is now, if you have a level 50 weapon that says Shadow Comet does 400,000 damage, and you're fighting a level 30 enemy, your Shadow Comet will hit it for 400,000 and will one-shot it. This has made leveling up your world tiers after you're capped out in challenge tier so easy. Like, even Storm Whip, like just the ultimate Storm Whip from the Thunderbird, just one-taps everything. This is so good for like speed farming outside of challenge tiers and lower level content. Fixed a bug that was causing a number of mods to not properly trigger their on-shot on critical shots effects if said shot was a killing shot. So they weren't triggering if the shot it was supposed to trigger on killed the enemy, is what I'm understanding there. So if you hit a critical on an enemy and that critical was supposed to trigger an effect, the effect wasn't triggering because the enemy was dead. And they've patched that so now it triggers. I don't use any weapons with a... I mean, the only one I ever used was the frost thing from Iceberg where the crits freeze stuff. But I never really noticed this. So I haven't run into this, but that sounds like a good change to me. Fix the bug that caused Trickster's Hunt to Prey skill to not teleport but go on cooldown. That's huge. That was super annoying. If you would try and hunt the prey to somebody, you wouldn't move, and then you hunt the prey's on cooldown. And it just, so annoying. That's a good change. I like that. Fix an issue whereby old crash dumps were not properly being cleared from the play system. 300 megabyte files that were previously left behind. I haven't run into that, but that sounds like that would fill up your computer with shit really fast. Added support for rebinding, function, delete, and page down, insert home, page up, print screen, scroll lock, caps lock keys. Basically, you just added more buttons that you can use. The available FOV for configuration has been increased from 90 to 130. I tested this. This is a terrible change. This is honestly terrible. It sounds good. Like, yeah, FOV. That's what we wanted. We wanted more FOV. No. The way they've done this is not what we wanted. They literally just, the base FOV of the game, they've just expanded. So if you max this out, you just get this wonky ass fishbowl effect where everything looks like it's really far away and warped. And if you ADS, you still ADS to the same FOV as it was before. So now you just zoom in even further, and there's just a bigger disparity between the baseline FOV and the ADS FOV, which is the issue in the first place. It's the ADS FOV that needs to be changed. The 90, it was honestly fine, the third person FOV, because you could see everything at that, but it's the ADS FOV that needs to be pulled back, because it zooms into like 45, 50 FOV when you're ADS, maybe even less, which is, the ADS FOV should be brought back out to like 70, maybe even like 78, 80, because it's just too zoomed in. Like it's super annoying to try and do ADS and a behemoth does like an AoE attack or something. You can't see the circle on the ground because all you can see is your goddamn character. This, like, it's cool and all, but it really doesn't provide any benefit at all. Like, it's basically just a, you guys wanted FOV, here's FOV. It doesn't actually fix any of the issues that are with the field of view. The above highlights have been selected based on key community topics and discussion. For further fixes, we would recommend either finding notes via Control F, searching the page, or reviewing the categories that interest you the most. Note these are predominantly bug fixes to resolve issues whereby the game was not working as intended. While this is not intended as a rebalancing pass of the game, some bug fixes here may change the way certain skills work. Where an intentional rebalance has occurred, we have earmarked this with rebalance. Please do not consider this a proper balancing pass. It is simply a small number of changes for which a patch was required. Right, so let's see what they've actually changed. Resolutions that apply specifically to the PC experience. FOV, that's just useless, so nothing. Fix an issue, that's the crash dumps. Okay, so I read through all this already, but this is just a more in detailed version of it. So it looks like I already read through the important parts of that. Hard disappearing, fix that. General solution resolutions. Large number of crashes. Get stuck in the sign-in screen, some lighting. cover fixes for specific locations, visibility of crosshair, side quest icons, crosshair will no longer disappear when looking at allies. Rebalance, here we go, let's read these ones. The over-leveling system / scaling multiplayers have been adjusted. The system will activate 1 level later when your average gear level is a minimum of 3 levels higher than the enemies you're facing previous to. So what that means is you won't start getting downscaled until you are 3 or more levels above something. Well, it should be 4. So if you're level 50, you'll still be doing the same DPS against stuff that's level 47. And then once you start fighting stuff that's level 46, you'll actually start getting downscaled, like your actual gun damage, not your mods. So it's kind of like you're still stronger than you were before. So this is a good change. The mod fixing one was more than enough on its own. Outgoing damage will now be reduced less. Outgoing damage will now be reduced less. Okay, so the damage you deal is getting scaled down less. So if you were losing 10% per level, they've lowered that to, I don't know what number, but let's just say arbitrarily like to 7% per level or something. So you're now getting less penalized for playing with lower level people or playing lower level content. Improvements made to incoming damage scale, meaning players will feel more powerful without completely eliminating the threat of NPCs. I've actually noticed this when I was farming up the rest of my world tiers today. You actually feel like you're over leveled now. You're like killing stuff really fast. It's very difficult for them to kill you. You actually feel quite powerful when you're playing content you're over leveled for. Conditions that will trigger the system have been cleaned up, which will eliminate unintuitive behavior such as damage increases when using lower level weapons. I think that would relate to the mods being fixed. So if you were losing a level 30 weapon against level 30 enemies with a level 30 mod, that was doing more damage than using a level 50 weapon that was being downscaled. So now your level 50 weapon should be better than the level 30 regardless. Overall code optimizations you made. Multiplayer changes. Default background to closed. Fix the bug that could prevent clients from joining host. Resolve performance issues. Improved loading time. Client could load into a corrupted lobby. There's just a bunch of multiplayer fixes here. Fix the bug where the boss and either solo missions could appear duplicated for clients during cutscenes. That just sounds hilarious. Gear skills and mods resolution. I think these rebalance things are going to be important to read over. Cost of improving rare to epic and leveling up epic gear from 1 to 30 have been lowered. This will make improving items cheaper in the early game. Okay, that's actually really nice. So improving items from rare to epic. So actually turning them from blues to purples now costs less, and then if they're level 1 to 30, this also costs less. I'm assuming the 30 to 50 still cost the same amount of titanium or whatever it cost before. Fixed a bug where a skill damage improvement mod on gear with a higher level than the player would actually reduce the damage when used at lower world tiers. Yeah, this here, that's huge. That's the Shadow Comet thing I was talking about. If you had a level 50 Shadow Comet that was doing 380k, it would just get scaled down so hard to basically being useless. Whereas now, it's just going to one-shot everything on lower levels. It's super nice. Fixed the bug that caused outriders to play 0 in the preview when upgrading the Hell's Ranger weapons. No idea what that is. Fixed the bug that caused the Tricksters hunt the prey to not teleport. Yep, that's nice. Hunt the prey could be used to teleport to unintended locations. So I had this happen to me once on Drought Palace, where you fight the 5 captains in that second last room. That stone wall they come out of that closes behind them, I were teleported to them and it sent me onto the other side of that wall, and there was nothing I could do. I had to leave the mission. I had to restart it. I just couldn't get back through the wall. Fixed a bug whereby the move and groove mods anomaly and firepower buff icons did not appear correctly on the HUD. Okay, that's a nice quality of life, I guess. Pyromancer. Fixed a bug that was preventing the Pyromancer's feed the flame skill from applying ash status effect to screeches. Screeches are the birds, yeah? Okay, that's actually really handy because now you can freeze the birds essentially as a pyro, which would make them less annoying to deal with. Fixed a bug whereby the Pyromancer's Phoenix nestling skill occasionally granted the player the incorrect HP in multiplayer. It now grants the correct amount, 50%. I don't know what it was granting before, but they've now fixed it. I don't know if it was granting you more or less. I'm not sure if that's a nerf or a buff, or I guess it's just a fix. I don't know what it was giving you before. Fixed a bug that was causing pyromancers to exit cover after using thermal bomb. I don't really know many people that use cover, but okay. Seems like a good change, so you can now stay in cover and use your thermal bomb. Fixed a bug that could cause pyromancer's boots of the Lava Lich legendary gear item to not include the appropriate mods. Okay, so that's, yeah. So that's supposed to have this 2 mods all the time, and it's obviously been having different ones, or just not ones at all. I hadn't run into that, so it sounds like a good fix. Devastator. Fixed a bug that caused the Perseverance mod's damage reduction buff to not correctly end after the golem effect wore off. That's going to be huge. So they've essentially patched half of it. Maybe that's further down, but there's no emergency stance noted yet. But that's half of the emergency stance fixed, but just exclusive for the Devastator mod. Fixed a mod with the Devastator's extra Quake mod, sometimes giving more than 1 extra skill activation at the end of fights. If it's at the end of fights, why do they even matter? Like, they're not doing any more damage to anything to kill. I don't understand that. Fixed a bug that caused lurkers affected by endless mass skill to reappear on top of the player if you walked under them. Lol. I don't use endless mass, but that sounds hilarious. Fixed a crash that could occur if Boulder dashed into a wall. It literally hit the wall so hard, you're such an unstoppable force, you just eject from the game and crash. Fixed instances of gravity leap causing players to get stuck in unintended places. It's similar to the hunt to prey thing. Resolved instances where boulder dash could be used to reach unintended locations, so I'm assuming that would have something to do with going through walls to places you're not supposed to be. Technomancer. Ooh, rebalance. Here we go. This will be spicy. The minigun mod Massacre, which was changed in previous patch, had its duration reverted to its original value, but now only stacks 6 times. Is Massacre the one that each kill you get gives you anomaly power? And it used to just stack up to like infinite, so you could have like 2 million anomaly power. Now they've just hard capped it. Fixed a bug whereby the toxic lead armor mod was not triggering properly if the enemy was killed via a skill. That's super handy. So if you were in team play or even in solo play, you were shooting an enemy and you chucked your glider turret down, and your blighted turret or your cold snap grenade or something else killed it, it wouldn't give you the ammo back, whereas it looks like it now just gives you the ammo back if you kill an enemy that's affected by toxic at all, not just exclusively with the gun. Fixed a bug where Technomancers would be stuck to their main weapon if they use Tools of Destruction and Pain Launcher at the same time. Never experienced that, so that's probably a good fix. Fixed a bug with Tools of Destruction where melee or further skill use was prevented if the skill was interrupted by using the mouse wheel. Fixed a bug whereby the Perpetual Mobile Weapon mod was also replenishing the Technomancer's Tools of Destruction minigun ammo. So the minigun build's got quite a hard nerf from this mod patches. That was you could put Perpetual Mobile on your weapon, activate your minigun, and then if you got kills with the minigun, it was giving you ammo back. Like if you were in the activation threshold of Perpetual Mobile, which was 25% of your mag. And if you got a kill, you got minigun bullets back, which was quite OP. They've obviously fixed that, so the minigun build's been gutted from this by the looks of it. It's probably still good, but I don't use it, so I can't really tell you if it's still good or not. Fixed a bug that allowed Technomancer's turrets to be placed on vertical surfaces. Honestly, that should just be a thing. You should be able to put it on walls and shit. That would just make them hilarious. Fixed a bug that could cause the AI to ignore Technomancers if a turret had been spawned before the AI spawned. Okay, so the turret build's kind of got, not necessarily nerfed, but like you could manipulate the AI by just having your turret constantly alive and they'd never go for you. Fixed the set description of Borealis Monarch set English language. Right, I don't know what it says now, I haven't looked at it. Skills can now be properly cast when using the targeting feature after changing the keybind. Improved the visual indicator of throwables. Gear and mods. Fixed a mod that calls the Anomaly Surge T1 mod to not proc as intended. Fixed a bug that caused legendary set bonuses to not show correct items being active in the armor details. Fixed a bug that caused bright lights to appear on the screen when using the Storm Whip mod. the lightning? Is that the bright light? Minor visual fixes to female gloves. Fixed a bug that was causing certain mods to not properly trigger there. Yeah, so that's the shots one. Enemy boss and NPC related resolutions. AR snipers are now actually available. Reduce the amount of knockback. See, this should have just been reduce the amount of knockback from creatures. Full stop. Full stop right there. This should still be there, but this should just have been a blanket change to them. Molten Akari. Fixed a bug whereby the Molten Akari's jump attack was still damaging players who successfully dodged its AoE. What the fuck's the Molten Akari? Players successfully dodging the AoE will no longer be damaged. Molten Akari. Fixed a bug that caused Molten Akari boss fight to pause. Oh, that's the spider, is it? Okay. Fixed a bug that caused Molten Akari boss fight to pause for around 1 to 2 minutes if one of the clients disconnected right before dealing the final blow. That would be annoying. How often were people killing this? For this to have been that bad? Like, you kill it once per character. Unless people were farming the story checkpoint for something. I don't think it gives exclusive legendaries. Crystalloid. Debuff icons applied to the Crystalloid boss when they are remaining between phases. Fixed an issue with the Crystalloid boss fight does not progress if the player kills the boss during the black screen between phases. So you get stuck in there. I hadn't experienced that. Fixed a bug that could give Devastators unlimited healing when using the Impale skill using the Yagak fight. Yagak fight in the story or Yagak in Eye of the Storm? Fixed a bug that prevented the Broodmother from dealing damage to a player with melee attacks while standing on an elevated platform located to the left side of the encounter area at the outpost gate area in Quarry. That seems... like, why do they need to patch world tier story stuff? Like, the world tier content, to be honest, is irrelevant. Like, you should be just farming expeditions. Fixed a bug where the crawler range attack was damaging players beyond the attack range indicated by the UI. You fucking reckon? I don't know if you guys have noticed it, that like a laser beam attack that they do that freezes you. It has like the cone in front of them saying how far like to the left or right it's going to go. Even if you got like to the side of them, like perpendicular to them, they would still just swing around and hit you with it, and it was just bullshit, because like, why even have an indicator if that's not actually where the attack goes? Strix are now better able to cope with players standing too close to a wall. Fixes to AI including Berserker pathing optimization, skill usage, as well as reacting to and properly attacking players. Health bars for enemy skills such as anomaly rifts are now correctly hidden if the enemy health bar mode is set to hide. Animations for enemies have been fixed in certain situations, particularly when in cover and recovering from knockdowns. Fixed above that cause the visual effects from the weightlessness mod to now work as intended with crawlers. Resolved issues that cause the game to become unresponsive when interacting with NPCs, particularly when using skills or changing input methods. Fixed the crash that could occur during the enemy spawn in the first arena of Chemplant Expedition. Fixed a rare bug whereby players were unable to properly sell items to vendors. Fixed an issue whereby the cursor would turn invisible during dialogue with NPCs. Fixed NPCs T-posting in certain situations. I never experienced that, but I wish I did. Quests and expedition specific resolutions. Fixed a buff that could cause a stash to lock if the player died in Bad Day side quest. I want to just read the expedition ones. What is this? Prevented the Big Jaw Monster Hunt side quest from being completed if the player died. Navigation line. Restoring, that's a quest. They're all quests. They all sound terrible. Audio and dialogue resolutions, I don't think they're necessary. Like, I don't think they need to reread over. Other changes in minor bug fixes, resolutions. Added protection for when claiming items from inbox when the stash inventory are full. A co-op exploit where multiple legendary rewards could be obtained from the historian, bounty, monster hunter quest lines have been fixed. That sounds like a good fix. I don't even know what that was. Fixed the bug that could prevent player from claiming multi 10 weapon reward. Isn't it just a blue one, or is it a purple? Fixed the bug that could cause HUD to appear when the player only 80% loaded into levels. Increase frame rate of the video clips on the class selection screen. Fixed the bug that was causing incorrect color schemes. Yeah, and they're all just little things. So I think the biggest thing to take from this is the downscaling's been kind of like fixed. Like you don't need to take off pieces of gear to get to within the level range. You can just wear your best stuff, and you'll just slap in lower level content now. You will just slap. It'll make it so much easier to carry your low level friends or play for your low level friends. We just got more powerful against weaker stuff. Some of the mod fixes there seem pretty handy to hunt the prey going on cooldown. The minigun techno seemed to get a pretty big nerf from that inadvertently, but I don't think any of this is too dramatic. I don't think anybody should be panicking from this. If anything, this has made doing lower level stuff even easier. So now you're level 50, you can now speedrun like CT12s and still be like maxed out in DPS. So you'd still be just absolutely slapping stuff. If you were having issues with 13, 14 or 15, you could just farm 212s. But yeah, overall, those patch notes seem pretty good. I like some of the changes. A couple of things I'd still like to say, like the FOV thing really didn't do anything at all other than just adding an insane fishbowl effect to the game if you put it on the max. And the staggering, whatever it was, the staggering of enemies on Stargrave specifically, this should have just been a blanket change to the creatures on all the maps instead of just Stargrave. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the patch notes and things that could have done a bit extra, a bit better. But overall, a pretty good run of changes, and yeah, I'm liking where that's headed. So if you like this video, guys, make sure you like it. If you want to see some more Outriders content, subscribe to the channel. I'll try and cover all the patch notes I can when they come out, and keep making as much Outriders content as I can. So be sure to stick around the channel. I stream most days on Twitch at twitch.tv/Valix_Fury. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Come hang out. We can talk some Outriders, play some Outriders. We can get you guys in for some carries if you're struggling with your challenge tiers, and get you guys up to level 50 and being able to clear the content and get all the gear you want. So that's it today for me, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.